maybe he doesn't compete well enough to beat out Broderick Jones, but maybe he competes well enough to beat out Chooks on the right side. So I look at this two different ways where he can maybe try to battle to keep his spot, which I think he deserves at least, or maybe it turns into an opportunity to start somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just there are so many times, man, and that words are said and you don't know if they're disseminated, if they should be taken at face value, and I can't read this one. I just can't.
You kind of like it in a way. I like the fact that there's pure competition and we don't know who could win it, because at the end it lets you realize that the guy who wins the job probably did whatever it took to earn it, and maybe he just did a little bit more than the next guy, and maybe that translates onto the field. I want to get to something else you talked about also earlier today. You talked about Patrick Peterson, and the thing you mentioned specifically, it set off some alarms in my head, because we talked about this a week ago when the question was brought up on Twitter, the subject of Patrick Peterson moving around. It looks like you're seeing something similar to that effect, Colin.
Yeah, I think that he could move around. I think, first of all, Patrick Peterson was brought in here to be a player coach. There's no question about that. He's here to help Joey Porter along, and he's here, and he's very it's glaringly evident he's okay with that too, and he loves doing that. But I think when it's all said and done, we could see Levi Wallace in the slot. We could see Patrick Peterson kind of eyeballing and following that wide receiver one on the other team, and we could see Joey Porter as that off-boundary corner. That's probably the way that it could work with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because Patrick Peterson, to me, and again, you got to be careful what you say. You're not allowed to tell people what you saw. If you told me Patrick Peterson was 25 years old, I'd believe you.
Oh, that's a 12-year vet we're talking about. So that says a lot. Or 11-year vet, I think. And he's had, 9 Pro Bowls and I think 4 or 5 All-Pros. So he's a guy who's got mileage. He's got tread on those tires. So
he can still move. He can still get around. I think they are perfectly okay giving him a ton of responsibility.
I think that's a fair thing to expect. And we will take a quick break here. We'll come back. We'll take your phone calls. 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. We're going to take your tweets, too. Give me a tweet at Josh Taylor HD. We'll discuss that. We got to talk Pirates. They're still on the field against Chicago. We'll break that all down when we come back. Stick around.